How is you?
Hi, Saki.
What up? We are
What up? What up?
live. We are hitting the ground running. Thankfully, we got Saki back on the show and
Did
returning.
you miss me? Did
We
you
did.
miss me?
I did. I know I did.
I missed you guys. If that helps, I missed you
Right?
guys too. I've been like super busy.
Nice. Nice. It's always good to be busy. It's
Yeah,
always
yeah.
good. And then filling in for creative, coming back from last week, is Rockin' Polos, who has promised that
Let's
he
go.
won't start fights with chat this time.
I won't.
Are you the other honey badger that like fights with chats too? Like, what's going on here? What's going on here?
The
Yeah.
other honey badger?
Oh
He's
my goodness.
The other
Polos
SoCal. Yeah.
is a SoCal player that's trying to build his name. He's been doing well.
I
I mean,
see
you
that.
did. You won. Didn't you win the your exhibition on Outworld?
Yeah, I've been winning some expeditions.
Okay.
I've been seeing them. I think you were also in Shadowstorm's journey, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken. So I've been seeing you grind, my dude. I see you out there.
Thanks.
Totally see you.
He trying
Thanks,
to
I
come
try.
up. He trying to come up. He trying to take my clout. I don't even have no clout. People don't even like me, and he's gonna take it. What few, 3 people that like me, he's gonna take them from me.
I already have your clout.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh,
Pretty much. He would have taken all of my clout had he won my tournament, but he couldn't beat Azuna, so it happens.
Oh, I lost it after her.
speaking of the lovely Queen Asuna, she won the Queen of the Hill series, first place.
Oh,
So
nice.
congrats to her.
Good for
Yeah.
her.
Congratulations.
Honestly, probably the coolest thing about that series is just seeing like all the strong women playing. A lot of like ladies, or sorry, not ladies. A lot of people like to really underestimate us. For whatever reason it could be. But what I really loved about this series is that that underestimation was proven wrong, and a lot of strong ladies were actually trying to compete for like that prize pool that was like over 1,500. So they were playing for some serious hard cash. I think almost every placement, with the exception of last place, was in the triple digits that we were able to provide.
Wow.
So imagine, guys, imagine.
That's
It's
good.
possible. And
That's great.
again, it's one of the coolest things that I really, really enjoyed from, yeah, from this like series. Yeah, it was. So it was a little bit. It was very stressful because it was definitely high maintenance, high broadcasting, right? High level production and everything. Because people think, well, oh, it's just a King of the Hill, just you know, go live and add people. Like, no, you kind of have to like deal with like sponsors and advertisements, and then you gotta deal with like production assets, and then you gotta have like a really good beefy computer. And I'm saying that because my computer was dying through
Your
the entire.
computer was not beefy.
My computer is not beefy, unfortunately. It was very wimpy. Um, but in all honesty, it was a really really nice experience, very rewarding to see. Um, and honestly, like people just don't realize that there's one, plenty of women that play this game, and two, very strong women too. We had Devorable, we had Asuna, we had Blue Velvet. We also had Jade the Kiwi, who surprised the fuck out of me. Let me tell you, she played Scarlet, and it was a really really good Scarlet. And we also had Ava as well, Lady Setron herself, and Emmy BB too. So honestly, really good players that just over like the course of 6 weeks, we really got to broadcast them and actually show off that like we are here for you guys, and we're here to show you guys that anything and everything's possible when it comes down to just trying to get this uh, event going.
Sounds
Yeah.
like a lot. I mean, when I run my King of the Hills, I do what you said earlier and just fucking invite people and go. But I don't have the production values nor the sponsorships. So I can imagine it's a lot more work than people give it credit for to run events like that. And
It really is. So like one thing that I was really, really proud of was the fact that like we started at $50 and we just like promoted heavy from Maturino to merchandise to basically just everything and anything we could throw. Like we basically said, "Hey, we can do this if you give us this." And we were able to not only complete but gain more than what we thought. And again, a lot of people don't realize that. And it's like I said, like people could just easily go up and say, "Hey, you're just running the King of the Hill. Why do you need all of this production asset? Like you can literally just run this from your PS4 and go from there." And it's like, nah, man,
I mean, if you're trying to put
that's
on
not
a
what.
show, like any idiot
Yeah,
can just, and as one of those any idiot could just throw on a King of the Hill and stream with it. But if you're trying to do a big production,
yeah.
it's more than that.
As an equal rights believer, I will join the Queen of the Hill too.
Yeah, shut up, Polos.
Oh, good lord. So,
Saki, here's the deal.
it
Polos,
actually,
he
that
fancies
kind of
himself
brings
a
up a really
villain.
good point.
So
That
feel
actually
free to
brings up
tell
a
him to
really good
fuck
point.
off.
I will, but not yet. But it actually brings up a really good point because one of the things that like the Queen of the Hill series really really focused on was that we tried to include as many people who identified themselves as a woman. So
Mm.
the Queen of the Hill series was open to non-binary, to the LGBTQ plus community, and of course to the women's side community. And that's one of the reasons why we set up the rule where we just needed to double check your like Twitter profile, because we don't want to make anyone feel left out, um and also not feel uncomfortable either.
Yeah.
So that's one of the like biggest challenges and also goals that we really really wanted to focus on in that series. And we did a really amazing job. We had a lot of people who were never known but were able to actually be highlighted either during the qualifiers or during the tournament, the finale as well.
That's cool though. I mean, there's a lot of this is one thing that people don't realize about like the competitive scene is that there are female competitors out
Hmm.
there, but oftentimes, they're hesitant to enter events that are just open registration. And so these all female tournaments, they get people out of the house, and then the women that enter these all female tournaments usually start moving over to co-ed tournaments as well, but to get their foot in the door. And that's why I've always supported all female tournaments, because people have always said, well, what's the point? Like, everybody can enter the normal tournaments, why don't they
Yep.
just enter them with everybody else? And I'm like, well, it's because, like, generally speaking, women, they don't want the, I don't know what it is, but women just generally don't enter competitions like sight unseen. And when
Well,
they're given an opportunity to showcase themselves specifically in a women's centric environment, they feel more comfortable with that. And I always support, raising someone's comfort level to turn them into, a more seasoned competitor that, enters more than just, all women's tournaments. And women's tournaments are usually that gateway drug that gets female players more involved.
Hmm. So one thing that I've learned in my time in the FGC and in my and in like growing within the NRS scene as well, I used to think, well, why do we need to have only women tournaments, right? Especially if like we're trying to get like we're trying to kind of like prove a point. But it was with creating events like this and with trying to empower something like this that we realized that having women tournaments isn't so much about the competition, it's about opening that gate to have them compete in other competition. And one of the things that I've learned with this series and moving forward with my own events in my community is I'm going to actually try to be more not in, sorry not exclusive but inclusive, where I can actually help people be comfortable in appearing on stream, be comfortable in competing in really tense situations, regardless of what people may say can contribute to the factor of why women competitors feel sort of uncomfortable when they enter tournaments sometimes. um, the goal for these tournaments that are all women and all inclusive is exactly that. It's to show that it's to basically start your journey so that you can actually get used to being under these high pressure, high like stressful situations. Because again, another thing too that I really was very happy that we could prove, even though we didn't really need to, but I was very happy with it. um because we had like people like Netherrealm and a bunch of other big names in the chat on the finale. Is people think that women's tournaments aren't difficult and that it's like a free win, but they don't realize that again these women are constantly grinding. Like women like Asuna, Divorable, Blue Velvet are constantly asking games from like Gur, from Rewind, from Perfect Legend, people who obviously take this game seriously and are willing to put in a lot of time on it. And again, that's one thing that I'm really happy we could show, especially in the finale, that we not only ran a beautiful event, but we also showed that no matter what, we are here and we have women here who are just as competitive as the next person.
Yeah, and it's definitely a blessing what you've been doing because entering offline competition is pretty intimidating to begin with. And I know a lot of the concern from a lot of female players is like, okay, it's already scary going to your first competition. And then you're going to add on the fact that, women are generally concerned with things that men aren't. That's just
Hmm.
the nature of it, with harassment and things like that. And the reality is that that stuff isn't as widespread as Twitter would have you believe. Every time there's a blow up or a cancel, everybody acts like that's how the whole scene is. But the reality is that those are isolated cases, and that as a whole, generally women are pretty welcomed within the community. Anytime a woman showed up to an offline here in SoCal, they were always, welcomed with open arms. But they're not going to take that first step on their own. And usually it's these all female tournaments that are kind of their, their gateway drug in. They'll go to an all female tournament. Guys will be there as well because guys just want to see good competition and fun matches and be a part of the
And
scene.
girls.
Yeah, and so when they go and they meet the guys that are a part of the scene or they meet the TOs and they find out like, hey, not everybody is chanting show your tits, then they're like, hey, this is something that I'm having fun with and want to be a part of. But those all female tournaments are very important to kind of get that ball rolling and show that, it's not just a bunch of nerdy basement virgins yelling at them.
It kind of is.
Sometimes. I
I
mean,
I
I'm not saying that those things don't happen, but they don't happen as much as Twitter would have you believe.
I've been seeing that Empress Ava win some expeditions and tourneys lately.
Yeah, Ava is actually a really good Secheon. She's been
Yeah.
really grinding as well. She's one of those. She was one of the ladies that reached the finale as well. And again, it. I want to really stress that like, regardless if they're isolated situations or, um, uh, again, when we start when we as a woman, like for example when I went to my first offline, I was extremely uncomfortable because again there wasn't many women into that first offline.
Oh
So
yeah.
again, it's scary, and honestly we live in a world where it's really tough to be like a woman in these like spaces. And while yes, some men are trying to create to like definitely be like, hey, welcome, don't worry, this is a safe place, like we got you. We still need to be on top of our toes, we still need to be actually like very cautious. And again, with these women tournaments and these women events, it helps create the like it opens the gates so that we can actually start going to events, and there's not so much there's not just those men, there's other women, there's other players, there's basically an actual inclusive space. Then, oh wow, I feel kind of uncomfortable, there's just a lot of people here, or a lot of guys here, and
Well,
go
I
from
mean,
there.
I'm not discounting incidents that happened in the past, and I'm not trying to downplay them. They're certainly a problem, and they certainly exist. But I feel like it's bad to paint the entire scene with that brush of like a few people. When you look at a tournament, like look at a major, right? And an MK major will generally pull between 700 and 1,500 people. And they had, when we had offlines regularly, there was two or three a month that were pulling in those numbers, and that's internationally speaking. So when you're looking at the player base as a whole, if there's a major and there's 1,000 people at that major, and one of them's an idiot, I mean, you're literally looking at 1 in 1,000 odds. And
Mm.
so people paint our scene with this broad brush stroke, and it's like, yeah, one guy is an asshole and he should be dealt with, but like don't paint all of us like that, because the majority, the vast majority, we want women at the tournaments. Like I want more girls playing. I want more people playing Mortal Kombat, period, but girls especially. And it's all, I always try to encourage and support events that try to get more female participation, because I think women can have a lot of fun with this game if they take the first step, and so it's always good to see them taking that first step.
Yeah.
Um,
But in all, that the event was definitely a success. We are looking to do more Queen of the Hills series, specifically for different games as well. We are looking to do soon a teaser for the next game. It won't be Mortal Kombat. We will be planning though one for Mortal Kombat, most likely in December after the new patch and the new characters are out for some time. But we will be looking at another event happening pretty
All
soon.
Mileena tournament. Oh, I can see it now.
Well, there is actually one. I believe CGL has already did one for Mileena, or they're gonna do one like right after Mileena comes out. Um,
That's gonna be
it
hype.
is what it is, I guess. I don't know. I personally don't enter any of the CGL tournaments for personal reasons. But I do wish everyone luck in that, and prepare to get ball rolled.
Yep, we gonna hit the floors, baby. That's like a perfect segue into the main event topic for the day, because they did just announce Combat Pack 2. What was it,
So
Tuesday?
how surprised? I want to ask this: how surprised were you seeing Mileena come out?
I did not believe anything until I saw a trailer. So I was keeping up with the data mine. I was keeping up with all the everything. And every leak that ends up being bullshit always had Mileena in it. So, you're kind of conditioned to think, yeah, whatever. If you say Melina's in it, then I know you're full of shit. And so when the data mine came out with Mileena in it, I was like, all right, man, like this data mine's they probably trolled us by putting that shit
yeah.
in there to catch us. So when the trailer hit and I saw Mileena come out, I have my reaction on YouTube. I literally woke up. Like, I woke up, I had a lot of shit to do that day. Like, I had just had some problems with my car that I needed to get sorted out before work. So I was like, fuck, before I take my car to get fixed, I need to record this reaction trailer first thing in the morning, get it while it's hot. So I brushed my teeth, and I turned on and loaded up my PC while I was brushing my teeth and recorded my reaction. And so when Mileena came up on screen, it was like vindication. It was like, oh, okay, it was real. It's not
It was
bullshit. All
real.
hands on deck.
I
This is
I
not a
wanted to
drill.
think it was fake.
You wanted to think it was a troll.
I wanted to think it was fake so bad. I was telling everyone, "Oh, this is another fake data mine." But every data mine has been true so far. So
Yeah, the account that posted the data mine has been pretty accurate,
yeah.
at least from what I've seen in this like specific game. Um, I
Well,
was
because the
honestly,
files are in the game. It's not like 4chan leaks where it's like some guy that's like, oh, yeah, I
yeah,
live next door to Ed Boon and he told me this. It's like the guy is going through the files and pulling up the file names. He didn't even pull up like images of Mileena or anything. He's just like, yo, dude, in the game, under
this this.
characters, there is a Mileena slot. That's pretty likely that Molina's in the game. So I've trusted his data mines more than anything, but I wouldn't put anything past NetherRealm to troll us and put fake shit in the game to throw us off
Ed,
either.
Didn't they do that with in Injustice or in one of the games? I feel like they've done that before, and it was a placeholder name, I believe, was Shaggy or Scoopy or something, right?
Yeah, I think that was
Um,
Injustice too.
yeah, yeah.
I'm pretty sure Ed Boon's your urologist posted that data mine.
Right? Yeah. Ed Boon's urologist's next door neighbor's grandmother's grocer from,
Removed his kidney stone.
yeah.
So so for me, this was like my thoughts when I was seeing the trailer, right? I was just like, okay, I'm ready. Like my body is ready. What are we gonna get? And as soon as I see this like swift cut to some like to Rain in his mask form before it was even like Rain, I was like, oh my god, it's true. Everything is true. And then I see Rain just in his full blasting glory
Rain
under
looks
the
cool.
moonlight, and then and
She
then
said under the
Tarkatan,
moonlight.
He was like,
and then the Tarkatan gets caught by Mileena, and Mileena comes out and is like, "Sup, bitches," with her teeth, the way that she has it.
Oh my god.
I was really happy that they brought her teeth back. I was really glad that they didn't do the lip on
Yeah,
the
Lip
X.
Molina's fucking stupid. I thought it was stupid in X, even though I mained her for half of that game. And I agree. Tooth Molina is the true Molina.
the
I
real
feel
question about Mileena is though, is she
yeah.
going to wear a thong this time?
So I think so. I truly think that first off, I actually like her design. I like the her base costume. I guess it's more because it's more fitting of like kind of like how she is. Because the thing is that like obviously the past games had different focuses, right? But this game sort of is like okay, these are the characters. Yes, they look beautiful, but they have these costumes that are like they make sense, you know. So,
Skimpy?
huh?
He said
Well,
skimpy.
my theory on Mileena is so many people like her is because she had a thong in the last Mortal Kombat.
Not really. Like, the reason why I've always liked Molina is because her character arc was interesting, and I always thought that the skanky look from her was appropriate because the whole point of the character is that she's jealous of Katana, who's this beautiful princess. So Molina overcompensates. Her view of the world is warped and twisted, and she thinks Katana is beautiful. I'm going to be more beautiful. I'm going to dress more beautiful, and her
And
warped vision of beauty is, skanky.
Mm-hmm. Wasn't she like
Yeah,
completely naked in one too?
Yeah, in MK9 she had like bandages,
the
the
flesh
Flesh
bits. Yeah.
Pits costume. But I always
Well, that's
felt
my
like
theory.
Mileena being skanky was in character and on point for her because, again, her view of beauty should be warped and twisted. It shouldn't be, and that's why I never liked Lip Mileena because I was like, she's not supposed to actually be beautiful. She's supposed to actually
Lip.
be ugly. And Lip Lena was kind of like stepping away from that. It was like, oh no, like she's ugly, but like only if she smiles, Oh shit, I forgot. Those should be off, but I felt like her being ugly is part of her character, and so all the little whiny fucking Mileena fans that are like, oh, it's not the Mileena I want, and I'm like, yeah, well, fuck you. Like
So
MKX shouldn't have happened.
I do feel like the those Mileena fans are very small in between. Like I don't know. I do feel like one people just need to like kind of chill and just
Yeah.
enjoy the content, and number two, I just feel like yes, the Mileena stands are happy, but there's honestly I think that they're like the majority are happy with it. Like they're
Yeah.
not upset or they're not angry, like they're actually just genuinely happy. And I feel like I feel like they really are trying to exaggerate like some of those like small instances. But in all honesty, like I feel like everybody's really just happy that she's back in the game and that she's here.
Well,
And I
I've said
really
from the
like.
start that most of the trolls probably don't even play MK. Like trolls just look for an opportunity to troll. So most of those
Yeah.
people like hitting up Ed Boon when Kobe Bryant died, I'm like, those people don't play MK. They saw an opportunity to troll and went with it.
Mm-hmm.
I personally just feel like it's a great opportunity. I'm really happy about Rain. I feel like nobody kind of expected Rain, but like except for the few people who wanted Rain. Um, and it's really awesome, and he looks amazing. And
He
then
really does.
Rambo
Rambo.
looks amazing. Can we talk about that? Rambo looks
Well, we're
like
going to talk
a
about all of
god.
it. I will say this though on Rain. Rain is to me the most interesting DLC of this whole pack
Mm.
Yeah.
because Rain means that all bets are off, right? Because that was the whole thing was that Ed Boon had said, "Oh, we don't like doing
Hmm.
repeat DLC." And
Yeah.
so that was why everybody was like, "Oh well, Rain's not coming back. Tremor's
He
not
does.
coming back. You know, we're never gonna get Tanya back." And so Rain coming back and being a repeat DLC means there's no rules now. Anybody
No,
can
Rain,
there's
come
not.
Rain
back.
and
That's the
Mileena.
best
Yeah.
part. That is the best part about um like all of this is that like now because people are like, oh, is this the final combat package? And I'm like, honestly, we
No.
don't know. Nobody knows. This
I
is
don't think
everything
so.
has changed. Like everything has changed. The DLC has changed. The way that they're releasing has changed. Like everything is no longer by the book. It's literally like now you bitches are gonna be surprised.
Right? Like anything can
I just
happen.
know
We
I'm gonna
get
start
anybody.
death threatening Ed Boon about smoke.
I mean,
It seems to work.
I don't know if that would. I don't think that they brought Mileena in because of the death threats. I know a lot of people are saying, "Oh,
I
you're
don't think
just
so.
enabling the trolls and blah 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 blah." I think people don't give NetherRealm credit. I'm like, dude, people send them death threats all the time. They're like, "Oh, Jackie's overpowered. I'm gonna fucking kill you." Like, do you think they nerfed Jackie because they got death threats over that? Like,
They make a game where you do fatalities. I'm sure they expect death threats.
yeah, so I mean, I'm pretty sure that again they even got Melina's voice actress to record
Oh.
lines for some of the notable female players that have been asking for Mileena. They didn't do it for the trolls. They did it for people like me and like Losty Girl and what was the other one? Like those of us who have been like, yo man, I miss Mileena. She's my fucking waifu in MK, and like please bring her back and don't hold the rest of us in the same boat as you do those idiots that are saying stupid shit to troll.
Just
I
think
think
she's
it was a
lame because
troll
she's just
campaign.
a clone of Katana.
Yeah, but she's
So
more interesting. Katana's a chump.
bringing that point up, by the way, I definitely do think that it was definitely planned to a certain extent, probably most likely before Aftermath came out, because again, obviously, there's like different stages of the development process, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't think it's okay at all that those things happen, and just because they're used to it doesn't make it right, nor does it make it okay for these people to actually do that. Because again, everybody's going to handle something different, and death threats are really aggressive. Um, as for the enabling part, I think it's just because of the timing. And again, it would make sense for that timing for people to assume that. But I want to stress out again that while the character is out, people definitely need to realize that everybody needs to just like it's a problem that has I've been saying about this community for like the longest time, and people don't understand that there is a boundary and there is a line, and people cross these lines almost every day in this community without repercussions. So, for example, the death threats is just one example of how that line keeps getting crossed, and nobody is really taking them seriously, except for very few people like myself and like a couple of us who in our community it's not really welcomed. So
Yeah.
that's on like on that end, like I definitely don't agree with those fans being so aggressive. And it definitely just doesn't make their actions okay. I am happy that the character is in, but again, we like this is just something that we have to keep in mind, that these characters and the people who are part of this community, like we just it comes from different factors, and while the stands really made this clear, um it's oh, it has to be a work in progress. Do I think that they enabled them to stop the death threats? I kind of don't, only because again, this is probably something that they were thinking about before Aftermath, especially considering that they have a PS5, excuse me, version getting done, and of course COVID happened. So I don't think it's so much enabling. I just think the timing really makes it seem that way. And
Yeah,
yeah.
I agree with you there, but I still think that the majority of the trolls had nothing to do with MK or Mileena. I like especially with like if trolls smell blood, they feast. And I feel like a lot of people that were on that whole toxic Mileena uh, train, hype train, most of them probably don't even own the game. They were just like, hey, here's an opportunity to troll. I'm going to get involved with the trolling and do it for the lulls. That's why every single leak always had Mileena in it, because the trolls who were coming up with these troll fake leaks knew that their fake leak would gain traction because they added Mileena in it. And like, I I I applaud NetherRealm for putting her in the game because they did it for the fans that wanted her back. And trolls be damned. Like, fuck them, they don't play our game, they're just looking for an opportunity to troll. And why are we going to punish our hardcore fans? Because when you think about it, Melina's been in the game since MK2, and she's probably been in more games than most of the I'm pretty sure she's been in more games than fucking Kano or like Sonya. And so like people that are
No,
Mileena
Sonya's been in
fans.
everyone.
Sonya has not. She wasn't in Deception. She wasn't in MK2. She's not. She hasn't been in every game.
She
But
wasn't
what
in
I'm
MK
saying,
too. Oh, okay.
she's in the background in MK2. But what I'm saying is like NetherRealm, I applaud them for keeping their head straight and knowing that like the real MK fans that or and the real Mileena fans weren't the ones that were trolling. Because the ones who have, and Ed Boon's not stupid. He probably saw like, oh wow, these are new names hitting me up in every tweet, not people that I've seen forever. It's not Losty Girl saying all this awful shit. Why should we punish Losty Girl who just wants her favorite character back?
Mhm.
That's how I feel about it, and I feel vindicated because it's like, you know what? I did the right thing. All I did about my fandom for Mileena is I just talked about her on my stream and my show and my podcast. I just said, hey man, I want the character back. I love Mileena. I think she's great. And I never tweeted at Ed Boon. I never tweeted other developers. I may have tweeted one time saying, hey, I'd like Mileena as DLC, but I've never that threatened to kill anybody over it. I've never, when Ed Boon said that he was sad about, a celebrity dying, I'd say, yeah, man, sorry about that. That celebrity meant a lot to a lot of people. I didn't bring up Mileena. And so now that they've added Mileena to the game, I feel vindicated because I did things the right way and I got my character.
Dear Ed Boon, bring back Mileena or we'll kill you. P.S.
Right?
Back to Minecraft.
Right? Like, and so I'm super hype. I think this is the best combat pack that they've ever released because even though I'm not
I
a huge fan of
second.
Rain, like I like Rain. I think he's awesome. I think his story
Rain
has
and
a
Rambo
lot of
look cool.
Oh yeah, Rambo looks fucking awesome. But like there's a lot that can be explored with Rain. He's got a cool power set. They could do really cool moves with him. His story is interesting and it's a story they've never really done much with except for like Armageddon and a few cutscenes in X. So like I feel like there's a lot of potential to really expand on Rain, and he's a popular enough character. So also, there's one thing that needs to be noted in that there's very few husbandos in this game. And so I kind of am like
I
glad
was
that they
just gonna
added one.
mention that.
A
I was just
husbando?
gonna mention that. So what I find really interesting about this roster is this, like, regardless of what you say, yes, there's one female in all three combat packs. I'm gonna count Aftermath as just a pack because that's what it is at the moment, other than the expansion. Because Combat Pack 3 has three characters. Sorry, Combat Pack 2 has
Mm-hmm.
three characters. So, but I wanted to point out that in every DLC pack has come one female, and the roster has a pretty decent amount of female. There's like now 12 or
Mm.
13 in what is it, the total of 50 or 40, no, not 50,
We're at 37
38,
characters, but it's over
37.
100 if you consider each variation a character, which is what I do.
That's true. That is true. So, like, that's
I don't.
huge, and that's really awesome for me, to be honest. That's one of the things I realized again on the Queen of the Hill series when we were doing some of the prizes, that like there's a decent sized female roster. Yes, we could always use more. I of course have no gripes about it, but like if you really think about it, who's leading that combat pack too is Mileena, number one, and number two, there's been at least one female DLC every pack, in addition to already a sizable female roster in this pack. Or sorry, in this game.
I think the female roster is fine. The only problem I have with the female roster is that there's not enough differentiation among the play styles. And this is something I brought up last week in the podcast. Like, every female in this game is some variation of keep away, run away, zoner.
Good zoning keeps you in the corner.
Yeah, good zoning, okay in the nooch, and a traditional fighting game archetype is the pixie character, right? It's a very small, highly mobile, hit and run kind of rush down character that's kind of bouncing around the screen a lot. And in MK, usually that character is generally a female in like every other fighting game.
I was going to say Shiva's not like that, but
yeah. But I mean, like, you look at other games like Chun-Li, Xiao Yu in Tekken, like Mai Shiranui in King of Fighters, like that play style of the highly mobile, small hitbox character is just not really represented much in MK. We have Jackie, but like that's a can of worms right there.
Sindel's kind of up close. Too.
Nah, Sindel is not. She's
if it's not royal.
She plays the nooch with a little bit of zoning, and that was one of the reasons why I was championing the Mileena movement, because I felt like her play style was underrepresented in the game, and that she, as a mechanic, right, as a character, she brings something unique to the table. I'm just hoping that they bring back her back one and make it a 10-frame mid. Melina's known for down 4 and back 1, and if she doesn't have a good down 4 and a good back 1, I'm going to be fucking pissed, because that's not Mileena.
She needs to be able to get in your face like Baraka.
She's a rush down female character, and most of the female characters are really, like, they're really zony. And like I joked
predict
about
her
that.
having the best command grab.
Well, yeah, she's got to have.
Variation 3, yeah.
Yeah, like they're all very zony.
Sindel would be on variation 1 and 2. And that's, and again, like I get where you're coming from, and I can see a little bit. It's just, again, there's still, like, this game has these 3 variations, and they all can either play the same or play really different. But I mean, for me, I'm very happy with with like this game, and the amount of love and dedication there is in this game.
Well, I'm not knocking the fact that there's a ton of female characters. I'm knocking the fact that they're not very different, and I feel like that's a disservice to the female community. And when I say female community, I don't mean female players. I mean people that like to play female characters. Like, a lot of them are, run away and spam projectiles. Like, you look at Jade, Katana, Cassie, Scarlet, Cetrion, and Sindel is a little different in that regard, but at the end of the day, she still back dashes more than forward dashes. I mean, the only really aggressive female character that we have in the game, I would say, is probably Jackie, and to some extent Devora. And so Mileena coming back, she fits that archetype. She fits that play style that is sorely lacking from this game. I think that with every other play style, there's multiple characters you can play. There's a lot of zoners. There's a lot of rushdown characters with good mids. There's quite a few trap characters, set play characters, mix-up characters. But as far as pixie play style, there's upgraded Jackie, and that's it. And upgraded Jackie, as she's got her own problems, like. As someone who prefers the pixie playstyle, which is why I play Kung Lao, because even though he's not a female character, he's still kind of a pixie.
He is a pixie.
He's got a small hitbox. He jumps around. He's very mobile, so he fits that pixie playstyle. But what about female players that want to play the pixie playstyle? They have upgraded Jackie, which is a can of worms. I mean, if you're playing upgraded Jackie because you like the playstyle, you're still looked at as a tier whore no matter what. And So I'm glad.
Well,
I'm
she
glad
carries.
Mileena's back. I don't know that Jackie carries. I think that at high level, Jackie is a problem, but at low level, like
If you
Jackie,
know
you're not winning with
upgraded,
Jackie if you're not good.
if you know upgraded's basic jump and you know how to switch up the moves of it to counter, you're gonna win.
Yeah, but
That's
that's
all it
not
takes.
easy. That requires quite a level of execution that your majority of Scorpion Combat League players don't have. Um, but I'm so again back on topic. I'm glad Melina's in because I think she brings something unique and interesting to the roster as far as play style that is lacking. And
My
I'm glad. I'm hype. I'm ready. I want Mileena. I'm done. I'm in.
my only gripe with the guest DLC so far is none of them have been females. It's all been male movie stars like RoboCop or Spawn or Joker. Was there no '90s female stars we could get as a guest DLC?
Tank Girl. Let's do it.
You do her. You could do Ripley from Alien, or you could do Celine from Underworld. Just I just want one girl guest DLC.
Celine would be dope. I've heard people asking for her a lot, and Buffy and the Bride from Kill
Buffy,
Bill.
Buffy might be cool. Ripley might be cool. I'd like Ripley since they had Alien
I don't know what they would do with Ripley. If they're gonna do Sigourney
guns.
Weaver, maybe use her character from Avatar. Put in one of the fucking Avatar aliens, and then you can get
He's one of the cat
Sigourney.
people.
Because she actually fought. Like Ripley didn't really fight. She ran for most.
Well,
Like she was. She didn't fight. She did fight the queen with a fucking mech suit. I'd be down for Ripley if she had the fucking power loader.
if it was Ripley from Alien 3, that's the advanced clone of
Oh
part
no,
Alien.
you talking about Ripley? No, Alien Resurrection, where she fucking knew
Yeah.
wire kung fu and was like fucking a superhero. Yeah, bring in that
Yeah.
Ripley. I don't
Bring
want
that one.
Alien 1 or Alien 2 Ripley because like she didn't do a whole lot other than run away carrying Newt, unless she gets the power loader. Power loader Ripley, I'd be down for. And I want her
I'd
to
be
have
like
an
her
intro.
fatality.
She has to have an intro where she calls every other female character a bitch to make it
Mm.
legit like the fucking movie.
Yeah. She'd be cool. Or Sarah Connor from Terminator.
See, I don't know what Sarah Connor would do that would be different than like Cassie. Like Sarah Connor,
They
like
would fix the gun meta.
people are already
Instead of
sick
having-
of gun characters. I've said this from the start. I've said this from the beginning, and now it's starting to come around. I've said nobody buys a fucking karate game to run away and shoot. Right?
And
People
and
do
then
that.
We get Rambo.
Well, I mean, people do that because that's how you play. Like, what the fuck else are you supposed to do with Emerald Defender Jade other than run away and shoot? She's built to do that. That's her play style, but like nobody buys a karate game to not do karate, and that's now everybody's complaining with Rambo getting added in. Oh, great, another gun character who's probably going to be okay in the nooch with a little bit of zoning. And I think NetherRealm they've got the hint. I don't think Rambo's going to play like that.
I think he's gonna use his big knife a lot.
I think he's going to be like, what was it, fucking Hunter Predator? The one with the fucking traps that
I
he
think-
threw on the ground?
I think he's gonna have one hunter/predator, and he's gonna have a bow and arrow base.
I think he's gonna have some move where it makes the little net come off the ground, like you said, a trap there.
Yeah, that was
Yes,
what
that-
Predator had in MKX. He had that trap setup style, and I think they're going to do that with Rambo. Because Rambo, like, yeah, he's iconic for the minigun, like, oh, right? Like, that's, like, what he's kind of known for. But if you actually watch the movies, he hardly does any shooting at all. Like, he's not
No.
really a
runs away a
gun
lot.
fighter. He does a lot of grappling and stabbing and trapping people, like, and again, he uses the bow and arrow. Like, I always pictured Rambo as being kind of like a ninja. Like, he's hiding in the jungle. Like, he's like Solid Snake, he's like a stealth fighter.
Well, that's what he was doing in the trailer.
Yeah, and so I don't see Rambo being kind of like what was Spawn with that one variation where he holds the two machine guns. Even though Rambo
V1.
is iconic for that, that's not really how he fights. He just only did that like in one movie.
From Hell, that's the variation.
Yeah, and so like I'm excited for Rambo, and I think that the dispute, right? So throughout the 80s and 90s, it was always the argument. It's kind of like Led Zeppelin versus Black Sabbath, right? Like you were either an Arnold fan or you were a Stallone fan, Like, yeah, you watched all the action movies, but you leaned heavily towards one. And I think Stallone's participation in Mortal Kombat has, in my opinion, made it to where he wins because Arnold didn't voice his character and Stallone
Yep.
did.
Yeah, Arnold pussed out.
It's crazy because I think Stallone gets paid more than Arnold. I accept it.
Hmm.
Well, he did more. He did more than
Yeah,
Arnold, and
That just shows that he was willing to do it. Like they,
yeah,
they
that's
they they
true.
were willing to pay Arnold, just he just didn't want to do it.
and
Hmm.
like the thing is, I'm a fan of Arnold. Like, I love his movies. I love
Yeah,
Total Recall, Kindergarten Cop, all of that. Like, I love Arnold, but
yeah.
like I found it very, very
You're gonna let an
hypocritical on
impersonator
his
do your
end.
voice?
Well, no, like one of the reasons I was hearing that he didn't want to do the vocals, like he was under contract to do marketing for the movie, but like he didn't want to do the voice work because he doesn't like video games being like violent, and he thought Mortal Kombat was too violent. And I'm like, dude, have you watched your own fucking
You
movies?
watched your movies?
I'm like, there is nothing in Mortal Kombat that is
Isn't
more over the
Terminator?
top than anything from any of his fucking movies. Like if you watch The Running Man, that movie is as violent and
That movie's violent.
gory as Mortal Kombat.
Oh yeah, it's all about killing the person to get to the next level.
Yeah. And so like, I don't know if he really said all that, but I did lose a lot of respect for him because it's that whole like,
Yeah.
now that I've made my money on this, I can turn around and criticize it, and it's like, no, fuck you. Whereas Stallone, he puts out some of the most violent movies. I don't know if you've seen any of the recent Rambo movies, but they're very, very gory. They're very Mortal
Oh,
Kombat esque. And Stallone is like,
I
yo,
have seen it.
if anybody's gonna voice Rambo, it's gonna be me. All right.
hell yeah, Stallone.
Well, it's like Bruce Campbell. Like Bruce Campbell is also very dedicated to the Ash Williams character to the point where if we think about it, like the character is like Ash Williams, anything with Ash Williams, Bruce Campbell has to have something to do with it, and that
Bruce
is like
Camp.
part of his
Go ahead.
contract. Yeah.
Bruce Campbell came out in an interview and said that he doesn't approve of Mortal Kombat and that he wouldn't let him use his voice.
Yeah, but Bruce Campbell's also kind of a troll. I think
Yeah,
for
I
I
was gonna
think that
say
he was
he
just saying that
probably
because he's
said
probably
that.
sick of people bugging him about being in Mortal Kombat.
No, I really
Yeah.
don't think he wants to be on it.
Maybe. I mean, I think that the rumor of them losing the rights at the 11th hour is the reason why he's not in, and because it sounds. I mean, I think I talked about it on the podcast before that like the rumor is that it was all done, like NetherRealm has the character done and they had the contract signed, but as per the agreement in the contract was that they're working on an Evil Dead or Army of Darkness game, and the movie studio didn't want Bruce Campbell's, character Ash Williams to debut in a video game in someone else's game. So the idea was that they come out with their game first, and then after their game comes out, they can put him in Mortal Kombat. Kind of the reason why Lara Croft wasn't in the PlayStation All Stars game, because they didn't want her to debut in another game before her game. And so
So
that happened. And well, what happened was that their game didn't test well with test audiences. So they had to scrap everything that they had and restart from scratch. And basically, that meant that the Army of Darkness or whatever game was going to get delayed, and that he would be in Mortal Kombat beforehand. So the studio said, okay, well, if you're going to have him in your game before ours, we want more money because we have to draw up a new contract because we can't have him in our game first. And NetherRealm or Warner Brothers or whoever didn't want to pay the extra to get Ash Williams before he debuts in his game, and that's why they're at a standstill. And I think it's out of NetherRealm's hands because the character's done and ready to go, but Warner Brothers doesn't want to front the cash, and the movie studio that owns Army of Darkness or Ash Williams doesn't want to budge, so they're just kind of stuck. And every time I see anything with Ash Williams, it kind of lends credence to it. The fact that the marketing revealed Ash Williams in the emails, there was a chainsaw in the trailer for the first
I
combat
remember
pack.
nobody talks about that chainsaw, but I'm pretty sure that chainsaw was supposed to come first than Joker, I think.
Yeah, and so I think that rumor is legit that he was supposed to be in the game, that he's done, the assets are done, everything is ready, but he's kind of locked away in contract hell,
Now,
and it is what it is.
what I find interesting is that Dead by Daylight got that character first.
Hmm.
Yeah, because from what I read is that Dead by Daylight had their contract and their thing set up before the studio decided to go
Ah,
forward with their game. So they had already
gotcha.
secured the rights beforehand, and they saw how popular the character was as a DLC for Dead by Daylight, and that was what kind of inspired them to make their own Evil Dead game, and that was the catalyst. Was like, okay, like there is a market for Ash Williams in video games. Let's go all in. Let's make our own game. Blah 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 blah. So like Dead by Daylight was what started the ball rolling, and now we're just kind of stuck without Ash Williams in the game. I think it sucks for people that were looking forward to the character. I've never been a fan of Evil Dead or Ash Williams, but I mean, I can understand people, especially because, he's basically been confirmed for however long. And for it to be the rug to be pulled out from under your feet like that, it is pretty heartbreaking. My heart goes out to you
You think
guys.
we're getting an Evil Dead game?
I know we're getting an Evil Dead or Army of Darkness game, but I know it's going to be a while because, again, from what I had heard, they had to go back to the drawing board and basically start over from scratch. So
I don't know how you
instead of
would
it
make that a
coming
game.
out this year or whatever, it's coming out. It was supposed to come out last year, but I
The
guess we're
thing
a couple
about
years
those
out now.
games, the thing about those games is that like they have to kind of, if they're smart, they kind of have to be careful. Because you look at Friday the 13th and you look at Predator, and like those
Resident
are
Evil,
games that like, and not Resident Evil doesn't count. Resident Evil is not
a horror
It's
game?
not a movie.
no,
Well, Evil
it's
Dead
not
would
a
be a
movie.
horror game.
No. The reason why I'm bringing out the Friday the 13th and Predator is because those are games that are based off of the 80s feel,
Oh,
right?
okay.
So, like for example, Dead by Daylight did an amazing job with providing all of those 80s iconic characters because they already developed the game that literally people just wanted to see that character. But creating a game solely based on those 80s feels is very, very hard because people can either A, get bored, or two, not understand a lot of the reference. Like if you look at Predator, Hunting Grounds, there's a lot of amazing references to the movies and whatnot, but to a younger audience where they never seen the game but they just know the character, it's hard for them to kind of just get used to it if there's not a constant like updating and a constant like, no, this is a story game, or this, no, this is a multiplayer that you're just playing as the characters. Like there's a lot of different factors. Again, Resident Evil built itself from a game into the weird cheesy movies, and we kind of just accepted it.
Well,
Hmm.
the thing is, and you brought up an interesting point about people not getting, the Predator references, or, and I'm seeing it a lot with Rambo, right? A lot of people are like, man, what the fuck? Why is Rambo in this game? Blah, 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 blah. He's so stupid. It's just fucking boomer shit. And, my counter to like the younger audience that isn't excited for Rambo is, fuck you. Because this is an M rated game, and it was M rated. The first game was M rated. The whole M rating came about because of Mortal Kombat. So that means that Mortal Kombat, from its inception, has always catered to an older audience. And I'm sorry that you were
Hmm.
3 years old when MK1 came out, but when MK1 came out, there were those of us who were already mature audiences
Already
and
playing it in the
age. Oh,
arcade. Yeah.
yeah, we were age appropriate for Mortal Kombat when it came out, and we grew up with Rambo. So, like, yeah, fuck you. Like, Rambo's hype, and I'm excited. And I'm sorry that you're 22 and you didn't grow up with Rambo. That's fine. In MK15 or whatever, you can have Vin Diesel from Fast and the Furious or whatever action movie that you
Right? That
grew
will
up with.
probably, that
But
honestly
I
will probably be us. That would probably be us.
actually
yeah,
only watched Rambo for the first time like 2 months ago.
really, you never
But
watched
like
the
I,
original one?
And I watched them. They're
but
pretty
like
good.
I want to, again, I want to point out that like it's not, again. some of us actually know the character, we just never understood their references. Like, it's not going to be the same if, like, if I play Predator 100 Grounds with my dad's going to know about it, whereas me, I'm going to kind of know about it. I just know that I'm getting tracked by the hunter. So, like, in the case of Ash Williams, it's the same thing. Yes, he's garnered a lot of attention. Yes, they like him. Yes, he's a really cool character. But in that same token, excuse me, in that same token, it's it's um it's hard to create a game that's like an 80s game, and there's no source material to add on to it.
Well, I think the
And
Ash William is an interesting exception to that. I agree with what you're saying with like Predator and Jason, but Ash Williams, his popularity in recent times is more to do with the Netflix series than the old movies.
Yeah.
People,
Ash versus the Evil Dead.
yeah, and that series is fairly well promoted and known. So a lot of people who maybe were too young when the Evil Dead trilogy came out at least know of Ash Williams from the Netflix series. That, you know, Netflix is more widespread than a movie. Yeah, Rambo had a movie come out like a year or two ago, but like not everybody goes to the theater and watches a movie like that, whereas, you know, anybody can hop on Netflix and give Ash versus the Evil Dead a try. And I think that's why the people that want Ash Williams are more vocal and larger in number than the people excited for Rambo, because, you know,
Yeah.
Rambo hasn't been relevant for 30 years, whereas Ash Williams has a hit TV show right now.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, I was an Army of Darkness fan when I was little. That was like one of my favorite movies when I was little.
So yeah, you're probably heartbroken right
That's
now.
for him. It's the same guy.
I'm hyped for Rambo. I think Rambo's going to be so sick. I'm actually so torn on who I want
He's
to play
getting
out
the
of these
machine gun
characters.
on his back in every variation. Just face it.
I don't care. If Rambo's a zoner, then I'm just going to have to learn to be a bitch ass. But like,
Yep.
it's not like when Aftermath or Combat Pack 1 came out, like where it was like, like I'll play the characters. Like, yeah, I'll play Spawn. I'll play Nightwolf. I don't, you know, I'm not really drawn to anybody off of that roster. Same thing with Aftermath. It was like, yeah, Fujin looks all right. Shiva looks fine.
Spawn
I'm
and
not gonna play
RoboCop
him.
are cool DLCs, though. I mean, really, honestly.
But see, with
They
this
even have
one,
their-
I don't know who I want to play. I'm like, shit, dude, I would drop Kung Lao for Mileena, Rambo, or Rain. Like, all three of them are dope enough for me to drop my main for. So I'm actually like having like a little bit of a character crisis right now.
Watch Rambo be the most popular.
Oh, dude, I would be so hyped for Rambo to be the most popular. The first thing when I saw that trailer is I texted my dad, because my dad, you know, I used to watch these action movies with my dad. You know, like he took me when I was a little kid to go see, I think, fucking Total Recall in the theaters. I know we watched RoboCop in the theater, you know, and I was absolutely not what you would consider old enough to see those movies, but me and my dad fucking loved that shit. So I texted him, I was like, dude, Stallone is in Mortal Kombat, Dad. He's in Mortal Kombat. We can have Arnold versus Stallone in a video game. And he was like, wow, that's fucking
Arnold
cool.
Impersonator versus Stallone.
Yeah, but I mean, it's the best we're going to get for right now. I mean, we're not, you know, unless Arnold
Well, you can have
comes in.
RoboCop versus Rambo.
Yeah. And so I was like, dude, we could finally have Arnold versus Stallone versus RoboCop in a fucking video game. This is fucking hype. And I think that that's really fucking cool. And, you know,
MK11 is just an adult playing with action figures, basically. Because
Pretty
we got
much.
Joker versus Spawn, fucking Spawn versus...
pretty much, I think NetherRealm just went and looked at, like, every member of NetherRealm went back to their parents' house and pulled out from the basement their old toy box, and they just sifted through all their action figures and said, yeah, you know what, RoboCop, yeah, we'll put him in there. Oh, you had a Spawn toy when you were a kid? Yeah, we can get Spawn. We can make that work.
I got a He-Man toy. You want to put him in there?
Dude, He-Man would be tight. Oh, my God. I want a fucking main Skeletor.
If they put a Magnum PI in the game, I'll have to tell my dad.
Right? Dude, I would totally drop everything to be a Skeletor main. And I would spend all of my waking hours redoing Skeletor memes from 4chan in the Mortal Kombat game.
I
I don't
know
want to
because
feel good. I want to feel evil.
I know he's from Capcom, but I would love Nemesis in Mortal Kombat 11.
Yeah, I mean, I think if Capcom were going to put a character in Mortal Kombat, the character I would want the most is Dante. So that way they could put the sticker on the cover of Mortal Kombat featuring Dante from the Devil May Cry series.
You can't kill Dante, though. That'd be the That'd be the problem with him.
Yeah, but he gets cut in half and stabbed and shot in the face in his own games and then gets up and walks around like that's pretty much every MK character with fatal blows. Like they just get stabbed in the neck and then they get up and they're like, round 2.
He's basically Gears. Yeah.
I would be hyped for Dante, and he would fit the husbando archetype that, again, is sorely lacking. There's not enough husbandos in this game. All the dudes are like grimy, like gritty Western idealization of manliness and testosterone. But as far as like the weeb women love their girly men. That's why K-pop and J-pop are so huge in America and in Europe. So, like, what do you have for a husbando? Well, you had Fujin, and now you have Rain. And
be like, whoa, Rain and Rambo. Okay, I'm gonna play as Gears.
Right. So like, but I think Dante would fit that as well. Dante's a husbando.
Yeah, he's kind of girly.
He's very fabulous. I don't know if you've seen the cutscene with him dancing like Michael Jackson, but
I've seen it.
fucking Dante is very, very husbando material. But I'm hyped for Rain, man. I wanted to main Rain in MK9 so bad. So bad I wanted to make him work, and he just wasn't all that good for MK9 when you're sitting there taking air gas blasts and fucking Freddy zoning. It's just like, all right.
I just hope it's a sign we're getting our original 4 ninjas back.
Right?
There's a chance.
Well, our second original 4 ninjas. Besides Scorpion and Sub-Zero.
I'm going to go ahead and start wrapping up here. It was
Sounds
pretty
good.
nice talking to you guys. Very good stuffs today.
Nice talking to you.
Yeah.
I'm glad you could make it finally, and hopefully we can have you back regularly again. And also, thank you, Polos, for coming by and being a part of this. He had been asking for a while to be a part of the podcast, and
You
at
said
the
I'm a
last
permanent
minute.
member.
Well, I mean, if he fucking show up, he shows up right before we go live. Like
You said be here before
motherfucker.
9.
This guy.
Yeah,
Motherfuckers.
either on time or you're late.
Anyways. Social media shout outs. Go for it, Saki.
It's Saki Sakura TV. You guys know this. It's me.
No, they don't, because I get new subscribers on YouTube every time I post one of these. And so this could be somebody's first podcast with us. You gotta self promote.
Low. Alrighty. Oh yeah, Saki Sakura TV on all the platforms. So there you go.
There it is.
Great talking to you, Saki. It was nice to finally talk to you.
Yeah, guys.
See you later. And then Polos, your socials.
This is Rockin' Polos. I am Rockin' Polos on Twitch. Polos Rocking on Twitter for some reason. Feel free to hit me up with a follow. I'd really appreciate it. Right.
Go out and support him. He does a lot within the community. Not as much as a content creator, but as a competitor. So keep your eyes out at your next tournament. Polos is looking to come in and take your money.
I'm trying.
And as always, if you're watching this anywhere, chances are you already follow whatever platform this is on. But you can also reach me on Twitter. I have a Discord. I have a Twitch. I have a YouTube. All of those places. Look for SoCal Honey Badger. And chances are you're going to find me. Because, I don't know, I guess my name is unique. I didn't have to change it anywhere.
All right, Social Honey Badger. See you later.
All right. See you later, man.
All right, later, bro. Good podcast.